Hey guys, welcome back to the Way of Truth Tarot. My name is Mandy, for those of you who are just joining, and for those of you who are returning, hello again. I'm super happy that you are here for another reading. So, this is the new setup. If you're following me on my posts, it's done and it's much better. So, the case that we're looking into today is a request from a lovely subscriber, and it's about the Darlie Routier case. This happened in 1996, and Darlie is on death row for the murder of her, or the unaliving, I should say, of her two boys. She claimed that while her and her two boys were sleeping in the living room on a hot summer night, her husband was upstairs with the baby. Um, that this intruder came in, attempted to rape, attempted to R her, and murdered her two sons, and then tried to do the same thing to her. She did have a pretty big cut on her neck that was, I believe it was like a couple millimeters close to one of the arteries, as well as stab wound on her arm. But it was quickly determined that they believe she covered it up and staged the house to make it look like an intruder. They found a sock with the boy's blood on it in a back alley behind her house. But that was it. And she's been on death row ever since. So let's look into that. We're going to be doing tarot. We're going to be doing the missing variables, my tokens, and then Whispers of the Unsolved True Crime Oracle. And let's do the investigation layout. And then I want to specifically ask about her husband. He said some pretty unusual things to the investigators when they came that night to investigate the crime. He was like, oh, I can totally see why somebody would like break in and want to do that to her, a beautiful blonde with double D. Like, he had to reference her breast size, almost like he was bragging to the cops, or like really trying to, I don't know, sell them a narrative. It's just strange, especially like a somebody that just lost his two kids and almost his wife. Like, it just doesn't seem like something that would cross somebody's mind. But everybody deals with grief in their own way. However, it was noted by the police. Absolutely. And following the boy's death, one of the boys had a birthday and they celebrated it at the cemetery. The news was there and filmed the family, specifically Darlie, laughing and having a good time and spraying the tombstones with silly string. I know that the prosecutor also saw that, and it really did not sit well at all with them. So, if you're wondering why I know so much about this case, because as you guys know, I like to go into my cases blind. Um, this was like when I first started to watch Forensic Files as a young kid. Well, teenager, I should say. This was featured on that show. And so everything that I am reciting is from that episode. I haven't really done any more research into it. Okay, let's get started. So I'm using the investigation layout, and missing variables is the first deck I'm going to use with this. Everything said in this reading is alleged and in my opinion based on the energy and the card meanings, not facts. Again, my opinion. So, the mystery. What is the core issue, hidden truth, or central enigma that needs to be unraveled? Ooh, we got two cards came out. So the first is the Jack of Clubs and the Rookie Sleuth, a fresh perspective in a tangled web. We'll use the die for this. What passage on the card applies? 6. Naive idealist believes in the nobility of their cause, unaware of the potential dangers. Interesting. Okay, and then we've got a Joker card. Joker, it's a spade suit. 4. 1, 2, 3. The dark art of persuasion. And then on the quote, it says, behind every mask, a lie waits to be uncovered. The greatest deception is the one we choose to believe. Interesting. Okay. So, in my opinion, the central enigma is like, did Darlie do this to her children herself? Or was there really a masked intruder that came in? Rookie Sleuth, the naive idealist, believes in the nobility of their cause, unaware of the dangers. So, a rookie sleuth, that would be somebody trying to uncover the case, right? Get the truth. And so so driven by their convictions is not seeing the potential dangers that may be lurking in the shadows for them. I don't know. Like I said, the only research that I've done on this case was that episode I told you about that I watched. So there was no mention anywhere there about anybody that fits this rookie sleuth description. So if anybody is familiar with the case in great detail and has been following it in the recent years, if this makes sense, absolutely reach out and let me know, but I'm not sure what to make of this just yet. However, the Joker card, I'm under the impression that is the one that she's trying to sell, is that, oh, I didn't do it. So let's see. Put these back in the deck and we'll get on with the next. So the next one is about motive. What drives the people or forces involved? So this I'm gonna do tarot, and I'm also gonna use the Unsolved, the Whispers of the Unsolved. So, what drives the people or forces involved? We've got two cards, the Star and the Six of Wands. What drives the people involved is public recognition, the attention, the attention that it would bring them. You know what this is giving me? Vibes of Munchausen by proxy, where it's a psychiatric condition where a caregiver, usually a mother, but not always, but typically this is a female kind of illness. They the attention and the recognition that they receive by having an ill child is like so addictive to them that they make their child sick. And with the star is like following your North Star, purpose, um, hope, like the delusion that basically the delusion that like this is your purpose is to be the caregiver of sick children, or in this case, the mother of two slain children and a survivor of the attack. That is what I'm feeling with this. And it's like following her North Star, keeping with her story. What's also interesting is on this card, you can see here there's a man and a woman. And her husband, um, at least from what I've seen, I know that they're not together anymore, but he stood by her for at least a few years after, like when she was already incarcerated. And in recent interviews, um, I have heard, I haven't seen this for myself, but I have heard through other people that he still is um believing that she didn't have anything to do with it. So I'm not sure. I haven't verified that. It's just what I've heard. If you know anything to corroborate that or to contradict that, absolutely put that in the comments. I just find that very interesting. And the subscriber that wanted me to do this case, they specifically are curious about the husband as well. And at this point, it's like they got to stick with their story. Oh, wouldn't be one of my readings without me dropping the cards on the floor, right? All right. Give me one card that represents Darlie being the perpetrator. We've got the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords is like rest and relaxation. Sanctuary. And then we have the Ace of Wands, which is the beginning steps of an action, an idea that you put energy into to make it happen. Oh my God, then we got the Knight of Wands. Full steam ahead. And the Seven of Wands in reverse. So the Seven of Wands upright is um defending yourself in a conflict, but it was in reverse. There was no conflict to defend herself in. So it's like I'm sleeping, I'm resting, I'm in my sanctuary, and then the Ace of Wands, the beginning steps of making this idea come to life. This is representing the amount of energy that she had to muster. And I'm sure after she inflicted what she did on allegedly on the first child, um, there was a surge of adrenaline that probably made the rest of it a lot easier. This is saying that there was no conflict. Allegedly, my opinion. So why exactly would she do something like this? Now, there was people that speculated that maybe motherhood was too hard for her, etc. They were cramping her lifestyle. But let's ask, what is the motivation behind this Queen of Wands? Her, what she wanted. Not being tied down. Out of all of the queens in the whole tarot deck, the Queen of Wands is the least nurturing queen out of them all. This one's more selfish, um, and wants to live an exciting, glamorous life. What else? Yep. And then we got the Two of Pentacles. Her lifestyle, specifically financial lifestyle, things that she wanted. Basically, it was like, I have plans. My husband's making good money. I want to live a certain way. And frankly, these children are cramping my style. Yeah. And then we have the Two of Cups. It's not about just me and him anymore. Yeah. I'm unfulfilled. The Four of Cups, I'm unfulfilled with this mother role. I'm over it. Should have used birth control then, Darlie. Like, what? Okay, let's put these back in the deck and get started with the Whispers of the Unsolved. Actually, before I do that, let's check into her husband. Darren, I believe his name is. Darlie and Darren. Okay. Darlie and Darren. I think that's his first name. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Totally don't mind being wrong. I always look at it as an opportunity to learn more information. So, okay. Mr. Routier. Mr. Routier. And then we've got the King of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. Two of Swords, inner conflict, a difficult decision. What is this difficult decision? The beginning of an idea. Keep going. I'm listening. The Fool. And it's a woman on the card running for it. So it's like the beginning of an idea. Her idea. But this is implying he knew about it beforehand. What's interesting is the Two of Swords is coming before, which is proving that he knew about this before it ever happened, because they talked about it and it stirred up some conflict inside of himself because it's wrong, right? Okay, so what else? Oh my God. Do you see these? They came out together at the same time. This is them discussing, because everybody's like, oh, why was, the baby was upstairs. Yeah, this is implying that he was in on it, and it was planned that he stays upstairs with the baby. Judgment. Um, so what was their reason? What was their reason? Seven of Wands in reverse again. Not wanting the day-to-day struggle of having two young boys that have a lot of energy. Um, King of Wands. Lots of fire energy here. So we had the Queen of Wands. King of Wands is saying, like, I want more control in my life. I don't think he could control those boys very well. I think I'm getting the feeling they were a lot of energy, like really hyperactive boys, like typical hyperactive boys that probably needed a lot of patience. And we got the 10 of Wands in reverse. They didn't want the heavy burden of these kids. And then Justice came out, confirming that. Justice is confirming that this was a joint effort, and it's a really big red flag that they did not attack, like they did not like he didn't accuse her, or yeah, like he didn't accuse her after, even though he was upstairs the whole time, apparently had no idea this happened until she screamed and woke him up. And you're telling me that as your two sons are having horrific and the way this happened was horrific, like sharp object, completely barbaric. You're telling me, Darlie, that you didn't wake up? You're 2 feet away from your son on the couch. He's sleeping on the floor, and you don't wake up while something terrible is happening to him like that? Come on, guys. No, I'm sorry. Sorry, I don't buy it for 1 second. And this is very clear. This is very clear to me. It was a joint effort between the two. When innocent parents have something terrible happen to their kid, they blame everybody because everything is on the table for them because they truly do not know what happened. All they know is something terrible happened to their kid, and they're looking at all possibilities. Never once did he look at her and be like, I don't know if I buy this. He stood by her. And if he still is sticking by her, it's really suspicious. It's like they're sticking together because they know they have to. Because if one turns, the other can easily say, I'm going to take you down with me. All right. Let's get some whispers of the unsolved. What drives the people or forces involved, and what hidden desires, emotions, or agendas fuel their action. Oh, premeditated. Gift and package. Secret government program. This is implying that it was a secret, that they premeditated this together in hopes that this would give them freedom in their life. They could have just used birth control, right? Like, this is sick. Yeah. Collapse and evidence. The evidence was so Yeah, the cover up was pretty bad. Yeah, Woods concealed in reverse, everything out in the open. Their secret program un unsealed. All right, one more card. Paper trail. And actually, what this is reminding me of is literally how they determined that she had inflicted these wounds herself because of the trail of blood spatter. There was droplets that had dried, and then new droplets had dripped on top of them. And then certain areas she wiped it up completely. And when they sprayed the luminol, they could see that it had been previously wiped up. Alrighty. The evidence. What known clues exist and what crucial details might have been overlooked or intentionally hidden? What known clues exist? Nine of Swords. So anxiety and stress that um she wasn't managing very well in her life prior to this. So you could tell by her mood, judgment. I think how she was kind of judging the kids, like judging the kids' place in her life, more like thinking, you're not adding to my life, you're draining my life. Oh my God, I just heard in my head, I brought you into this world, I can take you out of it. King of Swords. Just need to confirm before I say this. I got false and a con man. As in, his role that Darren is playing is false, being the innocent husband that was just sleeping upstairs with the baby. And then I got con man. He's lying. And with the King of Swords coming out, I in my head I'm feeling like in order to make it as believable as possible, I'm wondering if Darren was the one that at least inflicted the injuries on her. Give me a clarifier for that. Fake death, new life. I'm gonna try to kill you so we can have a new life together and make this whole thing believable. Allegedly, my opinion. One more card. Debt. Right at the beginning, I'm like, I got the feeling that they were living above their means. Like, yes, Darren's company was doing well, but I have a feeling they spent a lot more than what he was bringing in. And his company was new. So it's not like they lived in a really nice house, a large house. It was brand new. I don't think things financially were that good. And I think that was a really big motivating factor in who they were going to remove from the family. Um, and also, who was draining them the most. So it wouldn't have been the baby. So sad. Um, just because you created children does not mean that they are disposable. They're little souls. They're little people. Like really God created them. You just housed them. That's how I see it. And like how they were viewing these children was literally like possessions. Like this is causing too much inconvenience. We need to just bring this back to the store, so to speak. That's the energy that I feel. But I definitely feel that they were not doing as well financially as everybody thought they were. I really don't. Balance. They did this to create balance in their life, but it really wasn't balance. It was um a false sense of that. It was, oh, so far from balance. Again, on this card, if you look, half man, half woman. Again, another clue pointing that it was not just her by herself. This is sickening. Like, I mean, yeah, every murder is senseless and stupid that I cover, right? But this is like really freaking senseless, just greedy, pure greed. And the amount of effort that goes on the outside to make it look like she's a doting mother is just sickening. This is somebody that is seriously so empty inside they can do this and sleep at night. This is just unreal to me. King of Pentacles again. You just flew right out. Okay, what about the King of Pentacles? Seven of Cups. Lots of stuff going on. Lots of reasons to do this. Lots of moving parts in this man's life that he needed to get control over because, again, the King of Wands represented him. The King of Wands is a control freak. And then we got the Ten of Wands in reverse. Again, to delegate the heavy burden off of him. Eight of Wands. Fast, fast energy. Two of Wands. Planning stages. Starting to put the pieces into place for the vision. And it's right underneath the King of Pentacles. He totally is just as culpable as she is. Yeah, and the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. And this is right underneath all of the stuff, the Seven of Cups, that is a driving force in his life to do this terrible act. So bad luck. Things not going as well as he portrayed them to be. The Five of Pentacles. Poverty. Financial, um, no money. Broke. Adversity. Being left out in the cold. And this is underneath the Ten of Wands in reverse. So wanting to get this heavy burden out of the way. The Nine of Cups. Fast action for the wish fulfillment. Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment. Their wish was to unburden themselves from these two children, allegedly, my opinion. But she is not the only person that should be in jail, as far as I'm concerned. Now, I do believe he had government contracts with his computer business. I'm wondering if that is a motivating factor for him not getting dragged through the mud over this. Because I know that in the Ramsey case, who John Ramsey worked for, Lockheed Martin, huge defense contractor, affiliated with the military industrial complex. He, Four of Pentacles. Hanging on to valuable employees that bring them money. All right. What external perspective, insight, or overlooked testimony offers clarity or shifts the direction of the investigation? The Ten of Swords. The deaths themselves. The Page of Swords. Oh, there's a female on the card. Vigilancy. Eight of Cups in reverse. Not being able to separate oneself from this. External perspective, insight, or overlooked testimony offers clarity. Oh, that she was, like I said earlier, sleeping on the couch, but only waking up after the guy left. Not waking up while her two children were being viciously unalived 2 feet away from her on the carpet. That doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all. No, sorry. And I mean, in all fairness, she did say that she saw him kind of leave, but he was done at that point. He wasn't attacking anybody or even attacking her at that point. It had been after. So she's saying, number one, she didn't wake up hearing her first child get unalived. She also didn't wake up while her second child was unalived. And probably the other child would have been screaming bloody murder while they watched their brother have that terrible thing happen to them. So she didn't wake up then. She also did not wake up when she had a life-threatening slice on her neck and stabbed in the arm either. Does not make sense. Deeper emotions, repressed emotions, um, way more to the story. Confirmation for me. This is my confirmation card. The Hierophant, higher knowledge. Also governs over Taurus, and I am very much a Taurus. Okay, last question. What is the final conclusion, resolution, or necessary action to uncover the truth and bring closure? Well, she is already in jail on death row, but seeing it from a different perspective of her just not being the only one who did it. Allegedly, my opinion. Queen of Cups. Death. And last card. Five of Wands. And Justice came up with that. She was not the one having the conflict. It wasn't until after this that was done to the children that this happened. And it was to make it look a certain way. And she did get justice. There was justice in this case, except, in my opinion, there's somebody else that should be alongside of her. All right, guys. I hope this saw you well. And yeah, if you have anything to add, put it in the comments. I love hearing from you. And I will see you in the next reading very shortly. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for being here. Talk to you later.